Alright, I guess I'm live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Real Stocks today. We've got yesterday with a very interesting market close. Well, actually, the market close wasn't interesting, but it was Apple earnings yesterday. I'm not actually sure what they did, but they had a good reaction on it, and so far it's been lifting the market. We came back and tested that 50-day moving average yesterday that we were discussing and bounced right off of that. These are NASDAQ futures. Your Qs are not going to look like this. Your Qs are going to look like that with a big red day. But if you look at the futures, this is kind of why I like looking at the futures, because it trades. You can kind of see a little bit more of the movements. Looks a little less jerky in some instances. But the overnight session here been pretty good to the NASDAQ, up about 1%. And we'll see what happens with leading stocks. But so let's switch this to Apple, see what Apple's doing on earnings, popping up to 163. So right about there, just under that 50-day moving average. Actually, right, yeah, about $1 under that, $2, a dollar under that 50-day moving average. So we'll see if this starts selling off at the open or exactly what happens. Look at the volume in Apple after hours, right there. It's almost equal with the close. That is interesting. That's water erosion, ladies and gentlemen, right there. That's how the Grand Canyon was formed. But there you go. So taking positions right there. Someone had a sell order that they ate up and just continued taking it higher. So interesting action on Apple yesterday. I'm not quite sure how good the earnings was. Or maybe it just wasn't horrible. Illumina drops, Pandora rises. So we're getting mixed earning reports, which I don't think is super unexpected. I don't think everyone thought this would be a blowout quarter. I think a lot of people hoped that this would be a blowout quarter, but whether they expected it to be a blowout quarter is a whole different issue. For a number of names. All right, let's check out some pre-market movers. Bring the screen in here. We have CODX up a ton, $3. It's up 168%, and it's at $3. So it was basically at like $1.20 or something like that. EYEN, EKSO, Novus, a lot of low dollar stocks here. EVR, that's not a low dollar stock, $100, up 13%. Here's up 11% today. Wonder if that had earnings. Let's go check out those. On the downside, we have Juniper Systems, Networks, whatever, down 10%. Sunrun, I did not get a solar quote from them. And Fossil, oh, that's not Fossil, Federated. We'll check out a couple of those too. But let's go look at EVR in here. We may have both of those on our list, I think. All right, EVR with a nice little bull flag at the bottom here. Look at that nice run up. Tight little consolidation for a week. About a week. We're in the second week of the consolidation at least. And EVR is at 94.59. So gapping up here on earnings, which is good. And I don't have estimates on this one. Next one up is here. I know we have here on this for sure. Here kind of took a bath on us a little bit. It was kind of setting up. There we go. And then it popped up one day and then kind of ended up coming lower. So here right now at 1575, really not much change in here. That's not very impressive. I did mention I went into a GameStop and they said that the Here headphones weren't selling nearly that well like they used to be. So I'm not sure if Here comes back. We'll have to wait and find out. Hold on a minute, guys. Market opens in a minute. Good morning, Justin. I have zero water, so I'm going to grab some water. Had to go check on my kids. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back now with water, and markets open, and we're dropping, and we're never coming back. Ever. Look at that drop. All right, so let's see what's up. Let's see what's down. As we talked, EVR squares coming back. About 30 plus percent of that move that it dropped yesterday. INS, Huya, I'm sorry, where's INS, Chegg, Twitter, Tesla. That's what I meant. Tesla, not Twitter. Goose, Paycom, INSG, Team, AMRN, NetEase, Eli Lilly's flat. And to the downside today, not a whole lot. Illumina down 3% and Align down 3.5%. It's like, did we have earnings? 29 after. Yes, we did have earnings. So they missed a little bit by, it looks like, under 10%, 121 and 120. So missed under 10%. They got hit a little bit. But so far, our market's holding up really well. We talked yesterday about the market in the 50-day line. We held it. So we'll see what the end of today brings. That's always the story every day, guys. Every day. How does the day end? How does the day end? So lots of green on my board today, so I'm a little encouraged by that. EVR is up 9% today. Okay, so they gapped up here, moving a little bit lower. That's fine. Some profit taking. Been from 65 to 90 is a pretty good run. Pretty good. Up 44% in arguably 3 weeks. Little over 3 weeks. So a little profit taking is normal. We'll see if this can reverse and go higher. Yeah, not looking too bad. iRobot, they're up today. Looks like they have kind of an interesting trend line that's been forming here. Let's check that out. Okay. So there's iRobot for you, ladies and gentlemen. Potential bottom here. Little shelf, little flag. And it may be trying to break out. It's very, very early in the day. You want to look at volume signatures and see if they're popping, see if they're healthier. We have sold off from here later in the day, so just double check. Good job, Justin. Very nice. Yeah, Cron with that one big day, making everyone's day. What are the MJ stocks doing? Where do they sit on our list here today? We got Square up 5 or Square up 4, Apple up 5, BA, Boeing up 6. They had earnings. I didn't realize Boeing had earnings. Wow, a big beat. 456 estimated, 548 actual. So it looks like they just missed up a couple of digits. They flipped them. And you can see Boeing with a big gap up right towards all-time highs, that's the all-time high for Boeing, and we're right back there. So if anyone bought Boeing sub 320, congratulations. I didn't. But very nice structure up here. Well, I won't say very nice structure, but there is a structure up here. We'll see how this plays out. Looks like a dividend hike too a little bit. They're at 171, now at 205. That would have been announced already, I think. I don't know how that works with the dividends. If they announce it here, do they pay it here? They could. I could see that happening. But Boeing, big day up today. Apple, 4.6. Let's go look at it on the daily. So like I mentioned, we're up at that 50-day moving average, selling off a little bit. Apple hasn't had much of a reprieve from the drop-off. This so far kind of looks like a bear flag. Taking earnings out of the picture and just looking at the chart. So if we duplicate this line and put it up here, there's a good possibility we could do that. And we could even do that, and we're well within the confines of this bear flag right now. So I would say probably wait until this 50 line is broken to the upside, and maybe even this line before trying to take some positions. Yeah, it needs to perform a little bit better than that, I think. So yeah, 419, 418, not too bad. They're pretty good with their numbers. Of course, the market probably literally spends $500 million a year on analysts just on Apple. Just on Apple. Probably have spies inside of factories and all kinds of stuff. All right, what else is up at the top? Alibaba's up at the top. Alibaba with a double bottom. I think we discussed this, and that would be your potential entry point here. And let me put this line here so when it blows above it, I can feel smart. So that's your line in Alibaba. Looks like 1666 earnings. And that's estimated, and that's going to be today after hours. So if Alibaba has good earnings, look for that to blow past that buy point. Now, should you take an early position on Alibaba? I don't buy before earnings, but if you guys feel like a gamble, make sure you're comfortable with a 10% loss on your position. Anytime you jump into earnings, be comfortable with a 10% loss on your position. Anytime. If you're not cool with that, then you just wait until after earnings and see how that works out. So Square coming back a little bit, 2.5% right now. Was up 4 a little bit ago. Amazon up 2.5% today. Not a whole lot, but yeah, you don't usually see Amazon towards the top or bottom of my screens. That either shows to a weaker day or a healthier Amazon. I'm not sure which. They do have earnings coming up tomorrow after market. And market rallying today on Apple. They're hoping that points to a better global economy would be my assumption. MMNFF coming up to the first MJ stock. XLNX, which I'm trying to click on. Oh, MU. Let's talk about MU for a second. All right, so MU's been consolidating. We mentioned breaking this trend line. It's just chilling down here. Just hanging out. A good day the other day, closing higher. Yesterday closing lower, although volume was muted. So those, I'm not mad at either of those days, actually. So MU technically behaving very well. We saw fundamentally it's not the best. But if you guys want to, maybe a very early turnaround play, which could, potentially get you some better results. You got 38, and the high here is 65 in MU. So, maybe later this year, September or something like that, you'll get a 67% gain in MU. That's not too bad if you want to play for that. Amazon, YY, NIO, Stitch Fix, Silica, Facebook. They had earnings or have earnings coming up soon. Ethan, what's up? Ethan. I'm raising a deaf child that can hear. All right, so today, Facebook with earnings today, guys. It's going to be a big week. And Twitter has earnings the day after that, if I'm not mistaken, the 31st. Oh, no, a week after that, 2/7. Okay, cool. And Twitter yesterday with a not a good day. Not a good day yesterday. Big outside day. Not what you want to see, although volume was lower. So that's an interesting one. That's kind of a dichotomy of worlds there. Paycom. IBD has actually been throwing a stock in my face. Let's go find out what it is. I don't remember. It's not Paycom. It's a payment something, but I don't think it's Paycom. Paycom's been in a frozen rope scenario here, just kind of trudging higher. Look at that 10-week line. Just basically a steady angle. Alibaba beats. Alibaba earnings beat as revenue slows for third straight quarter. That's not great. Alibaba, we just looked at Baba. They didn't have earnings yet. Was it before? Boeing stock hits buy zone on blowout earnings guidance. Yeah, right. Mellanox Technology stock soars on Intel takeover. What were you talking about yesterday, news? China trade talks hit snag despite Beijing's $1 trillion offer? The hell is that? Oh, I guess Beijing offered to buy a hard to believe $1 trillion in additional U.S. imports over 6 years. Wow. That's a lot. Hmm. So NASDAQ rallying pretty good here. We got 1.4% to the upside. I'm trying to find, you know what? I get alerts on my phone. I'll bet you it'll be on my phone. Okay. Oh, it is Paycom. Software developer Paycom. So this thing just marching higher. Remember this trend line we talked about? Just marching higher. Volume's been pretty tepid though. I'm not super excited about that, but maybe maybe once we form a base or something here. Yeah, it says Paycom. Where's the base in Paycom? We've already. It's not a double bottom base. Right side of a cup with handle base. Okay, so they're looking far in the future. Unless they're saying on earnings it could gap up. I just found the article. It's a fourth stage pattern. See, I got to ask them about that. They're putting out conflicting information. We talked about bases the other day in the Power Hour. Big sell in the NASDAQ here, about 2.2% pretty quickly. A bear market is supposed to reset all base counts, but they're saying this is a fourth stage base. So I've got to ask them a question about that because that's fairly annoying. All right, let's keep looking at the movers. Hold on a second. My kid's getting ready to go. All right. Did you see Hawaii and AMD? No, I did not. I'm not sure. Bye, babe. I'm not sure Hawaii's symbol. Let's check out AMD. Yep, 15%. My goodness. I did not see AMD. What was projected? Okay, AMD. What's going on with AMD? Must have had a good earnings report. Why are you crying, Bugs? Ethan's gonna leave. I'm sorry, buddy. He's got to go to school. Every day we have things we need to do. One of them is Ethan going to school. Want to sit with me while we do the stocks? Huh? Just sit with me. All right, Apple stock vaulted positive. Boeing, AMD soared on earnings. That's what I'm looking for. That's the article I want. I heard the news about them with a court case against, I'm going to mispronounce that a million times, Hawaii. Huyai, I'm not sure. AMD full year sales forecast rosy. Let's look at this real quick. For the full year, AMD expects high single-digit percentage revenue growth, driven by sales of the Ryzen, EPYC, and Radeon data center processors as the company ramps production on its 7-nanometer chips. Wall Street was modeling the revenue growth of 6%, and that's worth 15% on the price? Wow. That's weird. Adjusted gross profit margins greater than 41%. It was 39%. Okay, interesting. So, that's why it's so outlandish, because they dropped 8% after Nvidia pre-announced weaker than expected December quarter sales. So they outperformed due to that. They got beat down, then they got lifted up. Okay. All right, very nice. And AMD, good for them then. Yeah, they got sold off on someone else's numbers, and their numbers came in and a little bit better than expected. So that's interesting. All right, so how's Square holding up here? Looks like it's slowly kind of drifting. I can't catch it. So yesterday's sell-off was pretty bad. The volume on Square yesterday, not ideal. I will say that, not ideal at all. And I'm not sure if we held the 50-day, but we were pretty close. Okay, the close was above the 50-day. We wicked below it. Hopefully that 50-day will hold, but I don't know. Usually on a 10% down day with that magnitude, we could be due a little bit more pain in Square before it goes higher again. We'll have to see there. Netties. So Twitter doing okay. Let's see if anything else is dropping off like a rock here. So a line down 4%. We got package, whatever they're called. Remember that beautiful little triangle? And then look at that. Failure. Boom. Straight down. Sometimes when it works, it works. Illumina down 3% today. Very interesting. They had a pretty decent miss there. Down about almost 10%. Miss on the bottom line. My head, Spiky James. Like 2-day-old stubble. Shen. How's Shen doing? I don't look at Shen in a while, but it's kind of rolling over here. Not sure if I would be super inclined to buy it. Although volume's dropping off, we could come to a point where it could round back up, but I don't play those games. Cron flat today. Justin talking about Cron a little bit earlier. Big sell candle yesterday. Let's not touch the microphone, James. People are probably hearing you, okay? They can hear you touch it. Can you hear this? They can hear that here too. Okay? So let's not touch it. And now the NASDAQ taking on the chin a little bit. So started out pretty good, and we'll see how the day ends up here today. But so we have a little possible channel that we've been forming in the NASDAQ. If we maintain inside that, we're okay. We're perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. 3D Systems down 2%. We saw they were up huge, and where did they end up? Way down. All the way down lower. They took that as a selling opportunity, not an accumulation opportunity. And then INSG looks like it's down slightly. A lot of red days here recently. Not a lot of downward price movement yet. Looks like it could start seeing some pressure in that direction though. We'll have to see how that works out. We talked about a potential mini head and shoulders here, and that being kind of a neckline or a support line. Although it's pretty small. Tilray flat today. Tilray's been getting a little less volatile. And probably redraw this trend line. It's not the one I wanted to redraw. Yeah, these MJ stocks kind of trade like cryptos. Little bit. Little bit. And that line I don't need. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with Tilray right there. Most everything's pretty flat right now. Still got Boeing up here holding up pretty good. Apple holding up good. EVR, I think it's come down a little bit. Yeah, it has come down. I think it was up 13%. Now it's up 5%. So they're using that as a selling opportunity. They're not rallying with that. We mentioned iRobot. So Alibaba apparently already had earnings. Oh, 130 before. Okay. They just didn't put the actual earnings on there. So kind of a miss. Yeah, super stocks. Yeah, 25, 26 bucks. Absolutely. Yes, James.
Can I play my learning game?
Yeah, for a little bit. Not for a long time. You'll play that game a little bit later, okay? I know you're bored. Do you want to color? Hold on, guys. All right. Um, yeah, so Cron's up at about 20 bucks. Cron's up at about $20, at least on. You want this one? At least on US dollar. So yeah, not quite the $25, $26 level. That's a strategy he runs. You know, well every stock's going to be a little different, but you know, when you're up 2, 3, 400%, it's never a bad idea to take that money off the table. I mean, why be greedy and expect that thing to go all the way up to $100? You know, it's unreasonable, I think. But if what he found is correct in terms of these $4 and $5 stocks, or even less in this case, you know, going up to 25, he probably would have held throughout this whole thing, would be my assumption, and maybe getting ready to sell as we get up towards that $25 level. Should you do that is maybe another issue. Starbucks, haven't seen Starbucks. Let's check it out. So it looks like it's actually breaking into new highs. Not all-time highs, but you know what I mean. So new highs here as of recently, right there. So yesterday had a pretty good day. Was okay. Was good enough. Yesterday was good enough, and today, going higher. I've got an alert here at just under $69. We'll see if that gets triggered today or tomorrow. I'll have to figure that out. All right, what else? We got Commvault, DPZ, Data, Send, Twilio, WHD. Haven't looked at you in a while. So you're coming back up into that range you were stuck in for a long time. James, if you want more paper to practice, you can use this one too. Do you want lined paper? You want paper with lines? Would that make it easier for you to hit lines? No. So WHD doing pretty good here. Not a lot of volume. I'd like to see more volume coming in there. Netflix up here at about 2%. Remember, they had earnings and they weren't the best. There was subscriber growth slowing, things of that nature. They had that price hike just before trying to counteract earnings, in my opinion. And they didn't have such a bad reaction. Looks like the selling's already dissipated a little bit here. This could potentially be an entry area with a low stop, if you will. And it's still about a 5% stop if you give that to the low of this consolidation. So probably better to wait for the breakout unless you can get a lower price for it. But if it goes, depending on how it goes lower, it probably won't look very good. But the volume in the past, this whole week, this whole session has been very, very flat and declining. So there's last week's volume on the lower side of volume here recently since we got to the low. So that's a nice pause of the sellers. And is that a 3 weeks type pattern, ladies and gentlemen? Guys, this is a 3 weeks type pattern on Netflix. Like officially, that's a 3 weeks type pattern right there. So what a 3 weeks tight pattern is where you have 3 weekly closes that are within 1 to 1.5%. If you put a box around all those closes, that the top and bottom range of that box cannot be more than 1.5%, like maximum. And this one's pretty tight. This usually shows institutional accumulation. That's 0.5%. So that's some pretty tight action. Now your buy point on a 3 weeks tight pattern is the overall high of the pattern. So in this case would be about 360. 359.38 would be technically your buy area. Pretty good, James. Hold on a second. It looks like NASDAQ taking it on the chin a little bit here again. All right. So Boeing coming back leading my whole leaderboard here. Holding up very, very well after those earnings. Blowout earnings. Look at that, 548. Not sure they've ever had a 548. We got 480. Then we're back on the $2. So that's a blowout quarter. I haven't dug into that, but that could spark something there on Boeing. And usually when Boeing's good too, it's kind of a bellwether for most economies. So hopefully that'll appease some of the trading gods between Boeing and Apple. Although Caterpillar had a lackluster one, and Nasdaq selling off right there. Looks like the volume here not super aggressive yet, but we're starting to flatten out. So maybe that could mean this is your next trend. This could be lower for the day. So don't get too caught up in these small charts, guys. I know I've got my 5-minute up here, but I really keep an eye on this. Whenever I look at this, I always look up here. I'm like, that means nothing if this looks like this. So we're still doing pretty good here. Illumina line, BIIB, Funko, Package Shen. It's okay, James. I'll help you out. You're welcome. Hey, try really hard. Maybe you're trying kind of hard. Go try really hard. Yeah, loving how Boeing's looking so far today. A lot of trading left to go, guys. Half an hour into the session, and we've seen most breakouts come down a little bit, or I should say, gaps up come down a little bit. Apple's come down a little bit. EVR's come down quite a bit. Boeing's the only one that's really doing better, and it's down a little bit from the open, but holding up very nicely. This thing could reverse and continue higher. I say if it breaks the high of the day, it probably is a buy, in all honesty. That's probably a buy in Boeing, if and when it breaks the high of the day. Square popping back up on my screen. If it'll calm down, I can click on it. Although it looks like it's down there towards the bottom part of the day. Let's take a look at Tesla. What are you at? $300. So holding around the $300 level. Earnings are today after market, guys. So everyone likes to watch Tesla. So we'll have to see how they behave today. We've been talking lately about them driving Tesla price down so they can accumulate positions. And look at all these peak closes. 1, 2, 3, 4 peak closes in Tesla. Not super peak closes, but peak enough. And they've been buying this thing before earnings. So either someone knows something or there's a bunch of stupid people. And I don't know enough to tell you which is correct. Whether it's stupid people or it's people actually trying to buy Tesla and not run it higher. Maybe they're trying to get it below $300 if they can. This is what they can do. You see they're holding that $300 shelf, and this morning gapping up a little bit. What do we got here? News for Tesla. Unusual options activities in Tesla. Company is going to report earnings on Wednesday. And noticed unusually high options activity ahead of the event. There was a purchase of 1,000 contracts of the February 8th expiration. 345 strike calls, or 17% above the current strike price. He explained that a move of that size is rare, but it's not unprecedented. There were 5 moves of that magnitude or larger in Tesla. He believes the trade could also be a hedge for one of the many traders with a short position. Exactly. Could be either or. So it's hard to play. Hard to see if you want to play ahead of Tesla's earnings tonight. What's up, Eli? Good morning. But yeah, we'll see what happens in Tesla. Maybe they dip it today to try to get it back below 300 so they could try to accumulate more right there. But if you want to play a gamble, figure out what you want to gamble and find an options play that makes sense in Tesla if their premium's not going to be stupid, which it probably will be stupid. Let's take a look at horrible premiums in Tesla. So 2 days, that means today and tomorrow. So really, if you want to play it the cheapest way you can, you're going to play the weekly, which close basically tomorrow. And look at that. So it's at $300, and just in order for you to break even on a call in Tesla, you're paying $15.65. So this thing has to get to $316.90 for you to break even on this trade. That is not a good risk reward. Not a good risk reward. Yeah, that's at least a 5% move, which isn't that bad, but still, I don't think I want to pay 5% for Tesla, which, yeah, you're going to win that in 25% of the case, maybe less. It's really, really a gamble. So even if you go out here to 320, you're looking at 327.65 where you've got to break even. So that's even worse. So really a no-win scenario unless you want to pay in the money, in which case this is $4.20. So 304.20 is where you would be profitable in this one, but your percentage of profit isn't going to be that much. And then if Tesla drops 10% and goes to 270, your $44 option is going to be worth 35. So you're taking about a 25% clip, give or take on that one. So I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. That's just crazy. And this stock has been extraordinarily volatile, which probably leads to that. Probably leads to those prices in Tesla. Look at just the gyrations are enormous. So I like to look for stocks with tighter action, and Tesla definitely does not have that. So that's not going to be part of my trading strategy for earnings. But I'll be a watcher for sure. Team, haven't looked at Team yet today. Oh, holding up very, very nicely. Wow, look at that beautiful little consolidation. So we talked about there's your breakout point for Team. So it broke out, tested it, and we're still above it, probably within a buy range. 4.3% is buyable here still. Not sure what the next catalyst is, but the volume signature looks pretty good. Nice declining volume all throughout this week, but not really moving lower, forming a little mini bull flag right there, holding up nice and tight, and that would be a buy point for Team. I'm not mad at that whatsoever. That looks really good. One of the better chart patterns. This is a pretty ominous candle, but obviously this was earnings, and we bounced right back. So if we can see increased volume to the upside as we break this trend line, I would probably consider that a buy point. So you got a high of 100 here, so your target would be about 120. For Team. All right. So about 8:07, excuse me, 8:07. I got to get ready for the power hour for crypto. So I'm gonna bounce, guys. I'll give you guys a minute to ask any questions if you guys have any, and then I'm gonna get out of here. But yeah, it looks like Team. Not too bad on the options prices. Could be better. You'd have to buy it right now, which I don't know if that's the right thing to do. NASDAQ somehow ended up getting all weird. Thanks, Eli. You have a good day too, buddy. So NASDAQ going lower. This one was in higher volume. Yeah, we'll see what the day holds. But again, as long as we're within this channel, I think we're okay. And we stayed within the channel yesterday, bounced above the 50-day. So far so good. Don't be scared out of this market, guys. Don't be scared out of this market. These consolidations are normal. The headlines are scary, but look at the daily chart of the NASDAQ. That'll really tell you what to do. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.